Hello, my name is Andrew. I also go by Andreas, and I am creating this video because I want to get some people involved in trying to figure out how I can get myself into a better situation for healing and personal transformation, ultimately to feel better, to function better, sorry about the lighting, and to overcome schizophrenia, basically, and the other conditions that I'm dealing with, which include some neurological slash energetic issues, dealing with spiritual energies or something that feels like spiritual energies. Somebody just said hello, or said my name. What's up? How you doing? So anyway, yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I can get to what is basically a very natural environment. It doesn't have to be totally wilderness, but it could be pretty much totally wilderness. Right now I have no money. I have no real access to money. I might be getting general assistance pretty soon, in which case I would be getting up to about $200 cash a month that I could spend, plus something along the lines of, I don't know, maybe $400 for food at specific locations each month, which would be really helpful. But I'm thinking about how to get unstuck from where I am. I live in the Silicon Valley right now. I'm technically homeless, but I'm being housed by different programs that are governmental programs, and I want to heal from schizophrenia. I want something so much better than that, and something inside of me just says, like, nature can really help me to heal and to overcome this condition, plus a bunch of skills and knowledge that I have had, that I struggle to access sometimes, but that I have had regarding healing and personal transformation, because I've spent 13 years doing that. And anyhow, I've come a long way in some ways. I'm experiencing difficulty right now. It's pretty severe difficulty, but it seems like change is happening, and it's happening pretty quickly and for the better right now. I've adjusted my medications, and I'm going to be getting off of one medication that seemed to be causing anhedonia, which is the inability to experience pleasure. And for me, it also includes the inability to experience what are considered to be positive or pleasant emotions. And so that's something that I'm changing, with the hopes of improving the way I feel and my functionality as well, which will help me to not be suicidal, which would be great. But anyway, so I'm looking for some ideas. How can I get myself? I experience profound disability. I can't really focus very much for more than a few minutes at a time, and it's very difficult for me to do that even. So I can't really focus on business projects all that well. I'll be getting something around $200 a month, maybe $150 a month. And that could provide for something like a bus fare, or somehow get myself a ride to somewhere else in California, which I am in California. I could get myself a ride to somewhere in California that has fewer people, a small town somewhere, that's in the forest somewhere. I really like to be somewhere in a forest, kind of like in the mountains, in the forest. Hopefully there'd be a lake or something like that around. Probably a lake, a nice lake, and a river or something like that. And I could also use help finding a location to go. I'm okay with going somewhere like Montana, even Colorado. I'm okay with getting out of the country, but I just don't know how I might do that. I might try to find a way to get a passport. I might be able to, with the help of family members, get some sort of resources to do something like get a passport, but I have almost no relationship with my family members at this point. I do have an aunt that's helping me, and she doesn't have very much money, but she might be able to be a voice for me to ask for help to get some money to get a passport so that I could leave the country, or otherwise have that identification that would be useful for travel anyway if I'm going to be flying anywhere, because I guess it's required now that you either have a passport or whatever it's called. I don't remember what it's called, but the real IDs. And I don't have a real ID, but I could probably just forego that and get a passport, and that might be easier. Anyhow, so I'm trying to think where to go, how to get there. And I did think I could probably get a few months, I think up to a few months worth of medications, to just say that I'm going to travel for a while. And I could travel for a few months or go somewhere for a few months. So I don't necessarily need to have a doctor around, but it probably would be helpful for there to be a location with a doctor or a pharmacy decently nearby if I want to stay for a longer term. I don't know, ideas would be really, really useful. California does have some great locations, I think. I've just never seen them, never been there. What's called the Lost Coast, the north coast of California, there's a part of it called the Lost Coast, I think, could be really great. It doesn't need to have the mountains that I was describing, but the redwood forest would be amazing to live in. Absolutely amazing to live in. And I mean, I'm okay with going to a wilderness area and just bringing a tent if I'm allowed to camp there for a number of months or however long, or something like BLM land. I'm okay with that kind of thing, but I do have difficulty getting around, and I'd have to pack in a bunch of food. And right now, I do have kind of a restricted diet, but I can maybe loosen that up a little bit to try to allow for location, which actually might improve the condition of improve my health condition significantly given enough time. And I don't expect change and healing and transformation to necessarily take place overnight, but with a location change in a few months, I mean, probably at least a couple of months. There's probably some sort of threshold that if I get beyond, I'd really start to relax. And something that I'm looking to do is get to the point where I feel like I don't really need to do anything anymore. I don't have to do anything. I get to do things if I want to, but I don't really have to do anything. I'm not really required to do anything. I can just be, I can just exist, and exist in what I consider to be a more natural way, which is that there's no society pushing me to do something. There's no government pushing me to do something. There's no system that's trying to get me to be a part of it and work for it and be committed to it and all of that kind of stuff. I'm not saying I don't want community. I'm not saying I don't want people in my life, but because I actually do want people and community in my life. I mean, I probably would bring my cell phone just to have some sort of connection, or I could get some sort of satellite device. Oh, there is something called like a Ryoku device. I don't know how much they cost, but they allow people to tap into the internet without needing a service provider. Kind of like using the standard AM/FM radios, where you don't get charged for using standard AM/FM radios. You can tap into them freely, and apparently this device allows for that to happen. Um, I could maybe get one of those and use a cell phone. But anyway, so I'm just thinking, okay, how do I do this? How do I accomplish this? Transport is an issue. I mean, I'm sure I could probably force myself to do it, especially for some change that's so important like this. But I don't have a vehicle. I don't know how I'd acquire a vehicle in any reasonable way. And if I did acquire a vehicle, I might be able to use that vehicle to sleep in if I needed to. I mean, there's got to be a way I can do something. There's got to be a way I can do something. I'm just not sure what that way is, and I'd like some help thinking about things. Where to go? What to do? What to prepare for? And quite frankly, I mean, I've done some independent journeying myself in the past, not into the wilderness, but I don't think I'd really need all of that much. I really don't think I need very much at all. And it's not that I'm necessarily looking to do camping for months and just be totally in the wilderness in that sort of way. It would be great to have a home site. It'd be great to have an actual place to live. I don't know how I'd pay for it. If there's anybody who knows anybody that might be interested in housing somebody like me for a while, that might be great. I could just do something if there were somebody who'd be interested. It would, who would be interested in housing somebody for a few months or maybe even longer, or to just go with the flow and house somebody like me. That would be absolutely amazing. I'd be willing to go to somewhere different. I'd be willing to check out different locations. I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm having some thoughts. I remember I did have a situation where I left to Switzerland when I was younger. I was in my 20s, and I left to Switzerland, and I ended up meeting a girl who was the former classmate of one of my best friends from an abroad program, and she was from the Ukraine but living in Geneva, or outside of Geneva at the time, and she offered to let me stay with her after I was done with a language course I was taking at a language school that I dropped out of because I started following spiritual, I was following a really profound spiritual path at the time, and the language stuff was kind of an excuse to get out there, and I was able to, but I ultimately chose the spirituality over learning the language in the language school. And she let me stay with her for a number of months, and she was just one of the most wonderful people I've ever met, and she was actually quite spiritual herself, and she was just beautiful young woman or girl, and kind of inside and out. And it could be a situation like that, somebody I could vibe with, somebody who's easygoing. I mean, I do have issues. I'm dealing with schizophrenia. I'm generally a very nice person. I try to be. I've tried to be throughout my life, to be a very nice person. And I want space to be able to vocalize and make noise, and I'll just be honest, I want to be able to make noise. I want to be able to express some of the things that I have within myself that aren't so pleasant, but that may last for a short duration, and I might settle down and feel more peaceful and more calm, especially in a natural environment without all the toxins in the air and in the water and in the airway, the ether, including radiation and electromagnetic toxicity, toxins, or toxicants, I guess. I don't know if technically, would it be a toxicant if technically it's not physical? Is it technically a toxic substance, or is it a toxic pattern? Anyway, that's kind of that's nomenclature, I guess. Something like that. Classifications. Anyhow, so yeah, I'm looking for something to do to get me to the wilderness, to get me to nature, to get me to a place where I can sit down, settle down, probably do a lot of meditation or just being in nature. I'd like to make some music, to make noise. I'd probably like to make some art. I have a lot of ideas for really amazing businesses and such, but I don't know how well I can do those right now, and how much I really want to do that. I mean, right now, my being, if I can sense my being, is just craving letting go of this stuff and not focusing on it, and not really trying to be of service to others for a time, and just learning the ways of nature and really connecting with nature in a way that is profound, so I can actually get my heart back and get my soul back and get my spirit on track. And it's something I've never had in my life, and I want that, and I kind of need that, I think, to become well and overcome schizophrenia and the other associated problems that have been a part of schizophrenia for me. So I don't know, I'll cut this video short, or I guess it's kind of long, but whatever, 16 minutes, 17 minutes, not too long. Hopefully there's been some who have appreciated listening to me, and maybe you're thinking about something that could be helpful to me eventually. And any bit of support, any bit of help is appreciated, even if I don't express it, even if I'm not able to express it, because sometimes I really can't feel appreciation. I can't feel gratitude. I can't feel thankfulness, even when I try. And even when I intend to, even when I want to. So any bit of support is greatly appreciated in spirit somehow, even if it's not expressed. And thanks so much for listening with great care and love. Over and out.